So Collingwood has a line where he says, understanding what someone says to you is attributing to him the ideas which his words arouse in yourself. This notion that when we listen to other people, we end up attributing to them the ideas which their words arouse in ourselves. All right, I want to say a couple things here as a response to what obviously is a misunderstanding. And this goes out to all those people who I don't know what to say. I've spoken in ways that have left people confused, and it was my underestimation of the audience, I think, here. I can't imagine that it was so easily misunderstood, but now when I've heard the criticisms and comments and I see what people have said, I went and I rewatched some of my videos, and I think I'm seeing where some of the misunderstanding is coming from. And so I want to address this issue of death being a hoax. Life is eternal and death is a hoax. I want to start with that issue. When I say that death is a hoax that's played upon the living and that life is eternal, what I mean is this. First off, only the living know of death. Only the living know of death. That is, while you're alive, death is something you'll have to deal with. But the dead don't ever have to deal with death. That is, death is so inescapable that it'll be like this. I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying. You'll never get to I'm dead. You don't ever get there, man. It's where do you go after you're dead? I don't know. Probably back to where you were before you were born, wherever that is. It doesn't make any sense, right? The point is that when I say life is eternal, I mean even if you say it's X billion of years old, and I know for a while people were saying 6, then 10, then 12, now some people say it could be 20, there's all 13.7, people want to get all serious about how many billions of years the universe is, as if they can really take seriously themselves when they use the word billion and million and bobble around there, when we even know that human history in thousands of years scale is much more of an impact, right? The human scale, the evolutionary scale of cultural evolution, not natural evolution, of cultural evolution as it began with the emergence of language, has been so rapid that to try to even deal with million-year frames, you might as well just say the universe has always been. Because if you're going to say, well, actually, no, it was 13 billion and then it came into being, well, how long was it nothing? And if you're going to say that you understand what the nothing is, that predated all that is, it's odd. I feel like saying, okay, you can pretend that you understand that. I can't. I don't know anyone who can. To me, that just doesn't make any sense to say that there was this nothing and how long this nothing was there. You might as well just say that life is eternal, and by that I mean there have to be some kind of living beings who can open to what is there. Now, here's where we get to this interesting question. A couple of people have asked me why am I claiming that humans are special, and why am I claiming that humans are different than animals? And I keep trying to say there is emergence, and sometimes a difference of degree becomes a difference of kind. Sometimes a difference of degree becomes a difference of kind. And what has happened has been, first, it is, everything about the human. It has to do with the upright posture. It has to do with the hand. But language is unique. It's not just the same kind of sign system that other animals have. Not only do humans talk, they talk with themselves, but they can talk about their relations to the absolute whole of all that is. This is where we need to differentiate between an environment and a world, okay? First off, if I take a pen, I have this pen here, when I want to get at how the pen occupies space and time, I could simply submerge it into water, and when I submerge it into water, I could show how much water gets displaced, and I could address the volume of this pen and say, look how much space it occupies. But if I take a living organism, and in particular, we're going to say a higher mammal, you don't just say that's how that mammal occupies space or time. That's a misunderstanding. You're making a category mistake between a living organism and a thing which can just be in space and time. So things in space and time are different than animals in environments. Animals in environments, animals have an ontogeny, they have a life cycle, they relate to the larger environment in a kind of structural coupling, and they also have basic territoriality needs. They have a domain that they expand to, and they clear room for that environment through various perceptual processes that produce a perceptual field that they react to. Things don't have perceptual fields that disclose what's not them. Humans, they're in a world. Now, the world is the radical transcendence that has been affected to the environment for the human. Humans are animals, and we could say we emerged out of an immediate environment, but by the time the environment became a world and we became human, we became we became what radically distinct. We now have responsibilities for the planet and for the whole of the planet in a way that other animals can't understand those responsibilities. It puts us in a categorical obligation in a way that other animals just, I don't think they can think about that. I don't think they can see themselves as not only part of a larger ecosystem, but as embedded ecosystems and on a global scale. The world has, so some of the differences between environment and world. Environment is largely produced by perceptual fields and by memory of the organism. The organism has a kind of hodological representation where memories that it has are, they're installed in the landscape, and they're able to be recalled by perceptual cues that keep the organism in a kind of balanced state. But out of sight is largely out of mind. Animals don't hold grudges and talk to themselves, and they don't need narratives and stories for what radically transcends the immediate environment. Humans do. I think if we look at the difference between zoology and anthropology, as soon as you start to move into anthropology, you start to deal with the problem of culture and narrative. And narrative and culture are these like transcendent shields. They're these huge shields that come up over the organism and tell the organism that it doesn't go the way of the grasshopper, kind of nameless, faceless death. It's a promise of immortality. Again, when I say immortality, I don't mean physical, the living after the death. No. I mean, because you've fallen into a world and become human, you're already not who you think you are. You're not just some animal on the planet. You're a socio-historical being, and it's accomplishing itself through a kind of emergent praxis. Yeah, praxis is one of the key words here. Great books by Calvin Schrag on communicative praxis. There's a praxis, an unfolding through time of historical possibilities. And we are the historical animal. When I try to say that we are the naturally theological animal, maybe that was a bad word choice. I'm trying to suggest that humans will always have questions of the ultimate. And whether you want to say the ultimate is the 16 billion years that preceded our appearance here, I think the question is, why does it seem, I think we all want to admit that the universe didn't begin with our birth, but I think it seems in some way like it began with our birth, and I think that's the same way that it's going to disappear with our death. But that doesn't mean that the world really disappears, nor it appeared, right? To realize that you're part of something that is massive, and without you, it can't be cleared for itself in the way that it is. You're a place and moment of the universe by which the universe haunts itself as another. And that place and moment of humanity is a radical transcendence beyond just an installment within an environment. I don't know if other animals have extended reflection on their own death, and I'm really guessing that they don't have radical reflection upon the world as a whole, certainly not the cosmos as a whole. Okay, thanks.